Hey everyone, welcome and thank you for watching DGT Wellness Channel. Today I have a wonderful topic compiled that a lot of people have reached out to me recently about, and that is about self-control. How do I get more self-control? And it encompasses a wide variety of issues, right? Like there's people that have health issues, they don't have self-control with their diet, maybe an addiction, maybe anything health related, maybe they don't have self-control of that they procrastinate exercising or what have you. Also, behavior comes into play. Sometimes people don't have self-control of their behavior and they have behavioral outbursts that end up being damaging in some way. So, and there's more that we're going to get into, but the bottom line is self-control is something that really affects you if you don't have it, right? So, my name's Derrick Ivey. I'm a board certified clinical hypnotherapist, researcher, and intuitive. And I'm going to walk you through today how to have more self control and how to curb that energy of how it's affecting you now, maybe not being where you want to be with self control. So, I'm going to open with a quote that is actually from Christian cosmology, and that is the virtue of one who masters his desires and passions. That's self control. The virtue of one who masters his desires and passions. So, really think about that right now. Are you the master of your desires and passions? Are you in a place where it feels like you have control and things are going in the direction that you want them to go in? Or does it feel really out of control and really messy and inconsistent? So, if it was the latter, that's what we're going to help you with here today. So, first, I wonder if you could even just imagine a world where everyone had self-control. So, think about what that would look like if everyone in the world had really good self-control. You're driving down the road, there wouldn't be any road rage. There would be people having balance in their life. Maybe the world would be a much better place. But the other piece to this is it's kind of subjective, right? Because what might be self-control for you might be completely out of control for someone else, and that's okay. This is really about finding what works for you and what really resonates with you on your path and finding a way to bring that into physicality, no matter what it looks like for anyone else. So think about right now, what in your life do you want to have more self-control with? And we'll kind of use that as I go through all of this lovely information. You can apply that to what you're currently going through. So even if you need to pause the video for a minute and really think about what you do want to have more self-control with in your life, do that and just take an inward inquiry and really feel it in your body. What is this bringing up for you? What do you really feel that you need more self-control with? So, I'm going to review right now a few different ways that we could feel out of self-control. Eating, that's a huge one in our country right now. people feeling this lack of control when it comes to eating. And I think it's gotten worse for a lot since the pandemic. I've sure seen a lot more soul aligned clients that I'm working with on weight issues and body image issues and eating addictions and all that good stuff. So, food is a huge area where a lot of times people will eat for comfort. A lot of times people will eat to numb out. So the food is a huge area where you might see your self-control is slipping. The next area is addictions. I work with a lot of soul-aligned clients on addictions as well. I work with people getting sober off of alcohol, people quitting smoking cigarettes, people quitting addictions of gambling, pain pills, all kinds of stuff. And it really is that same inherent hole in the soul that causes all of these patterns and sets them into motion because that gaping hole in the soul needs filled. And I can really relate to this from my own experience when used to be a practicing alcoholic. I would drink and drink and drink until I pass out, ran out, or blacked out. And I had no self-control with that. And what drove that addiction was that hole in the soul. And that's could be the same exact thing for a food addiction. That could be the same thing for an alcohol addiction. We all fill that wound in different ways, right? So these are all just manifestations of a deeper, deeper issue in the soul. Um, Procrastination is another area where a lot of people don't have self-control. How many times have you had an idea, I want to get this done today? You kind of have an idea in your mind of what you want the day to look like. Then the hours keep passing and passing. You haven't gotten anything done, right? And then you feel out of control because you couldn't direct your energies in the ways that you really wanted to. And that can be really painful. And here's the thing about all these, that pain of the lack of the feeling out of control drives these patterns even more, even deeper. So that's why we really want to get to the bottom of this, get to the core of it, heal it, put new programs in there, integrate those. Because we don't want you to have to keep going through all of that and going through these cycles that are really damaging. And they're damaging on many levels. And I'd love to talk more about this if you ever want to send me an email or a message. Um, Definitely, I'm down to talk more about this and what it looks like for you. So behavioral bursts, I mentioned that earlier, but behavioral bursts are a huge self-control issue for some people. And the way this one manifests, think about that you are at a friend's house and you're having a good day, and then the friend says something that really triggers you or sets you off, and then you go off on them and yell at them and all of that. That's another form of losing that semblance of control in yourself because that's probably not the way that you would have wanted to handle it. Because maybe if you would have been in a calmer state of mind, if you would have had more self-control, that wouldn't have happened. You would have been able to work through that in a more skillful way. But it does happen. There's no shame, there's no judgment in any of this. This is simply a reflection, it's an inquiry. It's we're looking into kind of the background of all of this and then some ways that can help you be better and do better. So another self-control issue that comes up for a lot of my soul-aligned clients is the spiritual practice. Like if you set this really beautiful, wonderful intention of, I'm going to sit down and meditate for 20 minutes every single day. Then 5 days goes by and you haven't meditated, you feel out of control because, again, you weren't directing those energies in the way that you would have hoped. So, and then also just obsession. If I'm trying to think of a good example of obsession, because that is a self-control. Think about somebody who's a stalker, maybe a cyber stalker. And I know I've had a few of those over the years that it's really unsettling, but at a deeper level, those people that are the stalker, they don't have self-control and they just continually are obsessed. And this happens so much, and it's a sets that shame cycle in motion even more because you feel out of control if you are seeing things that you don't like, the behaviors that you've engaged in that you don't really care for. So all of this lack of control can make us feel very crazy. It can make us feel out of control, kind of like life is not working. It can make us feel like we're coming unglued. Think about a pair of shoes, the sole comes unglued, but that's how we feel, like things are coming apart. That's very real, and that's real pain that you're feeling in your energy body. So, how would your life be different, perhaps, if you truly did have self-control? This is another one of those inquiries that you might even want to pause the video and close your eyes and really tune into your body. How would your life be different, perhaps, if you truly did have that self-control? Sometimes we have to ask ourselves how much time and energy and maybe even money is being burned up because we don't have self-control. So if that self-control issue is no longer in your life and things were really the way that you wanted them to be, that would be beautiful. That would give you more time and energy and more space for truly aligned things to come into your life. So it's absolutely worth taking a look at and shifting and saying, I am worth looking at this. I am worth doing whatever it takes, even if it does take time, energy, or money to work on shifting this and changing the way I feel about myself. It's going to be worth it because that's going to change everything in my external expression. So, the steps involved, we're going to get into here in a little bit. But I want you to really tune into what emotions are coming up in your energy field around this lack of self-control. What does that bring up for you in your body? So just close your eyes right now and bring to mind a recent time that you did not feel like you had self-control. And I'm going to do this with you. Okay, so I don't know where your energy field is lighting up, but for me, it was right here in the upper heart chakra to throat area. And I remember that the last time I felt that sense of lack of control was with food. And I mean, it's not a recurring issue, so to speak, but this particular instance, I saw a scene of myself grabbing a package of cookies and continuing to eat through those, even though I probably didn't need it. I probably didn't even want it, but at some level, I thought that would soothe me, and that's a subconscious response. So that's definitely something that I will look into more for my own healing, but I don't know what that is for you. So really tune in and find that scene of yourself having this lack of self-control and really feel if your body was an aura body, where would it light up? Would it light up in the same area mine did? Would it light up more down in the stomach, maybe up in your head? I'm not sure. And these energy patterns were formed most likely from age 0 to 5. So they're not things that are lightly in there, they're very deeply embedded. So, do you shift into a state of reactivity when that energy comes up? Is your lack of self control trying to soothe that energy that came up in you? And these are just things to really reflect on. It's not about a right or a wrong or a good or a bad. It's simply let's become more aware of this so then we do have the opportunity to shift it and we have the space needed for it. Our programming overrides our best judgment. These things are so deeply subconsciously embedded. Think about doing something from age 0 to 5 until now, and I don't know how old you are now. I know most of my viewers are in their mid to late 40s, but that's a long time to be holding these patterns in your body, in your energy field, in your consciousness. So the sooner that you shine the light of awareness onto those patterns, onto those energetic, bioenergetic patterns, the sooner you're going to be able to shift it, the more control you are going to have over it, even just by acknowledging it. Because about 60% of shifting any issue is literally being aware of it, seeing what's going on, because then we can shift it. Um, yeah, so, even being on your phone, that can be a self-control issue when you know you have a bunch of other stuff to get done and you distract yourself by scrolling. So let's say that you've identified this in yourself. You have identified what's going on. You've identified the energy pattern, where that's at in your body. What do we do about it now? That's the question, right? What are we going to do about it? So, first, we have to make that decision that, yes, this is what I want to do. I want to shift this. It has to be a conscious and fully backed choice. So, it needs to be fully backed in consciousness and intention. I want to shift this. Then we need to play the tapes. So once you identify what the issue is, let's say that your issue is I eat way too much candy and I can't stop eating candy. I eat candy all day. It's ruining my life. That's a good example. And I don't know anyone that has that issue. That just came through for me as an example to use here. And so we have this issue of candy eating, and it's become out of control. I can't control myself. I grab for candy constantly, and my teeth are rotting out. My health is in a poor place, and I really need help. So we're going to identify, okay, that's the issue. Where am I feeling that in my body? Then we're going to identify those energy patterns. Then we are going to, lost where I was at on my notes, play the tapes through. So we need to start seeing ourselves engaging in this behavior from a more expanded viewpoint. So maybe you view yourself like from a bird's eye view. If you were up in the top of your kitchen as a surveillance camera watching yourself, watch yourself. I think that's one of the things that a lot of people miss is they want to make these changes, but they're not actually even seeing what's going on fully. It's like there's that subconscious motivation to do it, to engage in the behavior. They feel that pull, but they're not actually looking at what this looks like from an outsider's viewpoint. And I think that's so important with shifting this stuff is like really seeing yourself. Is that who you want to be? And it's not about judging you or it being right or wrong or good or bad. It's literally just like, let's see that. And it might be really sobering to look at yourself doing that and being like, yeah, I'm better than that. And you are, you can shift this. It's totally doable. So I want you to really play the tapes all the way through and honestly, objectively, non-judgmentally look at this behavior. And I want you to do a visualization 5 years out into the future. If you were to continue eating this candy for 5 years or whatever your thing is, see yourself doing it for 5 more years, the way things have been going. Are you going to be in worse health? Are you going to feel even worse about yourself? Are you going to need even more candy in 5 years because your tolerance of sugar has gone up? Something to think about. On the other hand, I want you to go 5 years into the future. If you changed today, if you even just started taking tiny little baby steps in the right direction today, where would you be in 5 years on that timeline? Right now, you're at that decision point, at that fork in the road. You have the opportunity to choose which road you want to go down. And it's not about a right or wrong, good or bad. It's about you and what resonates best. So that's powerful. Wow. What are your limiting beliefs? That's the next thing. So when you bring all of this up, what limiting beliefs are glaring you in the face? What limiting beliefs You're telling you I'm not good enough. Something's wrong with me. I can't do this. I'm incapable of doing this. Those need to go. There needs to be a zero tolerance policy in your brain for those limiting thoughts. So we need to find out what they are. We need to dissect, clear, alchemize, and then put the new energy in. Um, Now, how do you clear the limiting beliefs? You really are going to need to go deep on this one because those limiting beliefs are very subconsciously motivated. And again, 94 to 98% of everything we do is subconsciously motivated. So, therefore, these limiting beliefs run deep and they probably are part of the reason why you're in this space of lack of self-control in the first place. And that's okay too. You're here. We can only start from where we are, but you're going to have to go really deep to fix this. And what can go really deep? EFT tapping, tapping on acupressure points while saying certain phrases. Find yourself a tapping practitioner. I'm a tapping practitioner. I can help you with that. Hypnotherapy. That's another great way because we're going to get that analytical mind out of the way and then we can regress and find where these originated and recalibrate on those older timelines and then reintegrate into today. With the EFT tapping, it has the advantage of really getting into the bodily systems because it physically breaks those electrical impulses and rewires. You're going to need to clear emotional and energetic patterning within yourself. And this is something that I don't think you should skimp on because this is the foundation that your life is going to come from. This is the soil of your subconscious mind. You think about planting a garden, you go out and you prepare the soil to be there for the seeds and whatever gardeners do. The same thing goes with the subconscious mind. We have to prepare that soil, we have to make it fertile soil for the changes that we want to program in there. So once you have been able to identify those patterns that are holding you back, you've been able to clear, update, re-educate, reintegrate, then after that, we have to put something new in. We have to put new energy, new programs, new awarenesses, new neural pathways in. And that's the fun part because this can actually be a really exciting time in your life when you realize that you're creating the reality you've always wanted, that you always knew you could create. That's beautiful. So, in this process, you're going to need repetition. The subconscious loves repetition, loves rhythm, loves whimsical things, loves big dreams, big visions, dream with the lid off. And here's the thing, you're going to need support and accountability to help you get these new programs in for a long enough time that they're going to sync. So that's why it's really useful to work with someone like me who's a hypnotherapist and healer, or you can work with a friend even if they are really keen to this type of thing. The important thing is that you're having someone that's going to care whether or not you win on this mission, and someone who's going to support you, who's not going to make jabs at you about changing. Um, Someone who is really going to be kind of a rock for you as you grow into this new you, because you're growing into a person that you've never been before. And that takes work, that takes guts, that takes support and accountability. It's really, really hard to do this alone. It's really, really easy to do it with support and accountability. But it takes time for these patterns to and these neural pathways to get built. Think of it like road construction. It takes a while for the roads to be built. And what we're literally doing here is we're building new roads for our thoughts to drive down in our brain. So that's going to take support and accountability. And it's also, if you have to exchange energetically for this, as in paying for hypnotherapy, paying for help and support, you're going to care so much more because you're showing the universe, I'm giving my hard earned money, I'm investing my hard earned money into shifting this pattern. So it is a very important component. If you haven't given an energy exchange, it's going to be much easier for you to fall off. It's not impossible to shift, but it's going to take more willpower. When you invest in the shift, you're energetically going all in. You're telling the universe, absolutely, this is what I'm doing. And that's a necessary component. So, all of this, it truly is one little choice, one little moment, one little bite in time at a time that shifts you into this new vibrational reality. You already have all of the tools within you right now to shift this. Absolutely 100%. You have what it takes to shift this. I believe in you. And I want to help you shift this. So if you're having an issue in your life with self control, send me a message, send me an email, send me a message on my website, because I really am here to help you with this. And I'm here to help you embody the best and greatest and shiniest and most vibrant, full of vitality version of you. That's what I want for you. That's what I want for our whole planet, is all of us to be on our highest timelines. Really strive to make your world a better place. You're so worth that. And maybe it's time for a change in your environment. I know for myself, I had to change so many environments on my way to becoming the new me that I am today. And I've had to change my environments up to get on the timeline of becoming the new me that I'm meant to be in the future timeline. So it's an ever evolving process, but it's also a very exciting time in your life because this is creating space for the best of you. So I'm going to be doing an EFT tapping sequence. Be on the lookout for that video to come out within the next week or two, on self-control and getting more self-control and shifting out of that powerless mindset that we don't have control over our circumstances, because we do. We have control over the energy that and intention that we put into the process. We don't have control over the outcome, but we have so much control over the process that creates the outcome. So it was so amazing being here with you today. I appreciate you so much for being here, being a part of the channel, and so much love to you, and so many blessings to you as you begin shifting these patterns in your life and as you become the best version of you. And I always really, really love and appreciate anyone who likes the videos, comments, or subscribes to the channel. It really helps us reach more souls that really need this healing work in their life. So I appreciate you so much and sending you a big hug, and we'll talk soon, okay?